Hello students and welcome to the course Network Security. So we were studying about the data link layer security. This is the second part of this lecture. In the previous lecture we studied about some of the attacks regarding the data link security. So we studied about the data link layer, that is the second layer of the network model, and we discussed some basics, the basic functionalities, the components of this layer. Then we started with the brief introduction to some of the attacks at layer 2, that is data link layer. Then we discussed the AR spoofing and poisoning in depth. After that, the MAC flooding and CAM table overflow was discussed. The last topic in part 1 was DHCP attacks. We also studied about these attacks. So in the second part, we will resume with VLAN hopping. Now we move to another important layer 2 attack, that is VLAN hopping. This attack breaks network segmentation. VLAN stands for Virtual Local Area Network. It is used to divide network into logical segments, and the purpose of this segmentation is to improve security and performance. The key assumptions in this process is that VLANs are isolated, means that traffic cannot move between VLANs without layer 3 routing. हर VLAN अपना सेपरेट नेटवर्क होता है एक, हमने ये पढ़ा था अगर आपको याद हो सबनेटिंग में, और पैकेट ट्रेसर में हमने ये ट्रंक पोर्ट्स और ये 8021Q टैगिंग भी की थी. इसमें हम क्या करते हैं, वर्चुअल लैन्स बना लेते हैं, यानी एक नेटवर्क जो है दैट इज़ डिवाइडेड इनटू स्मॉल लैन्स. तो ये मैनेजमेंट के लिए भी होता है और सिक्योरिटी के लिए भी होता है, परफॉर्मेंस इससे अच्छी होती है. तो हम ये एज्यूम करते हैं कि हर VLAN जो है वो दूसरे से सेपरेट है. सो जो इनके आपस में बाउंड्रीज़ हैं, ट्रैफिक वो क्रॉस नहीं करती. So the problem is that VLAN security is not perfect. The attackers can bypass VLAN isolation. This is called VLAN hopping. So how does it work? The attacker pretends to be a switch. It sends DTP, Dynamic Trunking Protocol packets. अटैकर प्रिटेंड करता है कि वो एक स्विच है, एक रियल स्विच है, और वो DTP पैकेट्स सेंड करता है. तो बाय यूजिंग दिस द रियल स्विच क्रिएट्स a trunk link with attacker. In this way, the attacker gets access to all VLANs. So the requirement is that the DTP must be enabled on the port. अटैकर स्विच बनकर पूरे नेटवर्क का एक्सेस ले लेता है इस केस में. नेक्स्ट इज द डबल टैगिंग. Attacker sends double tagged frame. Outer tag is for the attacker VLAN and the inner tag includes the target VLAN. So on switch 1, the outer tag is removed. Now frame appears to belong to the native VLAN. Switch 2 reads inner tag and forwards frame to target VLAN. So as a result, the attacker sends traffic into another VLAN. In this way, the segmentation is bypassed. So the important points are: number one, it works even if trunking is disabled. Number two, usually this is one-way attack. We can say it is unidirectional attack. So what is the impact? In this way, the VLAN isolation is broken, network boundaries are bypassed. The attackers move across the VLANs and unauthorized access is attained by the attacker. And the attackers can access sensitive systems in other VLANs too. So we can say that VLAN provides security, but misconfiguration can break isolation and attackers can move between the networks. So the VLAN cannot provide complete security. VLAN की security जो है ये strong है, but it's not perfect. Now I have a question for you on this slide. Which attack is more dangerous? Switch spoofing or double tagging, and why? Now we move to the final layer 2 attack, that is STP attacks and spoofing threats. STP, Spanning Tree Protocol. STP is used to prevent loops in network. It selects a root bridge, that is the main switch. It controls the traffic paths. जो रिडंडेंट पाथ्स हैं उनको ब्लॉक करता है, यानी एक पैकेट है तो वो एक पाथ पे बार बार नहीं जाता, ये लूप फ्री टोपोलॉजी देता है. इसमें BPDU मैनिपुलेशन होती है. BPDU स्टैंड्स फॉर ब्रिज प्रोटोकॉल डेटा यूनिट. Switches use BPDU messages to share network information, decide topology. So the attackers can send fake BPDU messages. As a result, the network topology changes, the traffic gets redirected, and attacker inserts themselves in the path. फेक मैसेजेस भेजकर अटैकर नेटवर्क का कंट्रोल ले लेते हैं क्योंकि वो पाथ में अपने आप को शामिल कर लेते हैं. रूट ब्रिज हाईजैकिंग, और वी कैन से रूट ब्रिज टेक ओवर. The attacker tries to become a root bridge. The attacker sends better BPDU messages. Better means having high priority. हाई प्रायोरिटी उनकी होती है जिनका ID लो होता है. सो द अटैकर सेंड्स BPDU messages with lower ID. So in this way, these messages will be considered on the high priority. So as a result, the attacker becomes central controller. After that, all traffic flows through the attacker, and in this way the network topology becomes unstable. The attack outcomes are man in the middle, that is used to intercept the communication, traffic redirection, that is used to control the network paths, denial of service, that disrupt the network by changing topology or affect the availability of the network, the network manipulation, that is used to control how switches forward traffic. So why the STP attacks are dangerous? The first thing is that STP controls the entire network structure. If attacker controls STP, they control traffic flow. They can monitor or block the communication. ये नेटवर्क का बैकबोन कंट्रोल करता है, इसलिए अटैक बहुत डेंजरस होता है इसमें. So we can conclude that STP attacks allow attackers to control topology, redirect traffic, and launch man-in-the-middle attacks. These are the some tools used for such type of attacks, and also this attack can be carried very quickly. In few seconds the attacker can carry this attack. So question for this slide is, why is root bridge control so critical in network security? Now that we have discussed different layer 2 attacks, the next important question is, how do we defend against them? So this slide introduces the key layer 2 security mechanisms that protect networks from attacks like ARP spoofing, like DHCP flooding, snooping, MAC flooding, the VLAN hopping, and STP manipulation. So let's check all these. So the first one is dynamic ARP inspection, DAI. DAI is used to prevent ARP spoofing and poisoning. It validates ARP packets using a trusted database built from DHCP snooping. If an ARP reply is fake or doesn't match the known IP, the MAC mapping, then it is dropped. The simple idea behind this is that trust only verified ARP responses, यानी पहले से जो वेरीफाइड हैं ARP के हमारे पास रिक्वेस्ट, सिर्फ वही यूज़ किए जाएं या उन्हीं के अगेंस्ट मैपिंग हो और बाकी जो है उनको एंटरटेन ना किया जाए. नेक्स्ट इज़ DHCP snooping. This protects against rogue DHCP server and starvation attacks. Switch ports are marked as trusted and untrusted. So only trusted ports can send DHCP server responses. Building a binding table, IP to MAC port and to VLAN. It's like a gatekeeper for DHCP traffic. पोर्ट्स जो हैं उनको डिवाइड किया जाता है ट्रस्टेड और अनट्रस्टेड में. तो जो ट्रस्टेड पोर्ट्स होते हैं उनको सिर्फ DHCP के रिस्पॉन्सेज मिलते हैं सर्वर से और बाकियों को नहीं मिलते. तो उस हिसाब से जो ट्रस्टेड पोर्ट्स होते हैं उन्हीं पे IP दिए जाते हैं. नेक्स्ट इज़ पोर्ट सिक्योरिटी. This defends against the MAC flooding attacks. It limits how many MAC addresses can be learned on a port. एक पोर्ट पे कितने MAC addresses हम दे सकते हैं. If exceeded, drop packets, log alerts or shut down the port. एक पोर्ट है उस पर बार बार मैक एड्रेस का रिक्वेस्ट आ रहा है तो डेफिनेटली इट वुड बी सस्पिशियस. तो उस पैकेट को ड्रॉप किया जाता है, रिक्वेस्ट का अलर्ट भी जारी किया जाता है. सो इन दिस वे वी कैन प्रिवेंट अटैकर्स फ्रॉम ओवरलोडिंग द कैम टेबल. नेक्स्ट इज VLAN security. This protects against VLAN hopping attacks. So what we do, we disable the DTP, that is auto trunking, use fixed access ports, assign unused ports to unused VLANs, and properly configure native VLANs. The main goal is to ensure VLAN boundaries cannot be bypassed. Then the BPDU guard. This protects against rogue switches and STP attacks. If a BPDU is received on a port, that is fast port fast, the port is immediately disabled. So it prevents attackers from influencing network topology. The last one is IP source guard. This prevents IP and MAC spoofing, fake IP and fake MAC. So it uses DHCP snooping binding table, blocks traffic with invalid IP to MAC combination, and it ensures devices only use their assigned identity. So at the end, I will say that layer 2 security is critical because attackers at this layer are silent and fast. They can bypass high level security controls. A small misconfiguration can compromise the entire network. So combining all these defenses can create a strong multi-layered protection strategy. To secure a network effectively, don't just focus on the upper layer like firewalls and antiviruses. Also start from the foundation, that is data link layer. Advance in depth, integrated security architecture. This means using multiple layers of security controls instead of relying on just one mechanism. Let's start with the layer 2 security stack. At the foundation, we have layer 2 security controls which protect the internal network. Core layer 2 defenses. These are port security, it prevents MAC flooding, DHCP snooping, blocks rogue DHCP servers, DAI, dynamic ARP inspection, it stops the ARP spoofing, ARP address resolution protocol, IP source guard, it prevents IP or MAC spoofing. These works together to secure device to device communication. Next is infrastructure protection. These controls protect the network infrastructure itself. First one is BPDU guard. It blocks rogue switches. Root guard. It prevents the root bridge takeover. Storm control limits broadcast or multicast floods. The segmentation and access. VLAN or private VLANs. These can isolate network segments. 802.1x authentication. This ensures only authorized users connect the system. So this reduces lateral movement inside the network. Next is network layer controls. We have ACL, access control lists, inter VLAN routing, and firewall rules. These control traffic between the network. We can implement these in packet tracer. I think you would have studied in the data and communication network course, because the ACL and inter VLAN routing, these are available in the course contents of the network course. Monitoring and detection layer. So here we have the SNMP traps, SAYS log, NetFlow, SIEM integration. These all enable central monitoring and incident response. Step by step approach. The first thing is to enable the DHCP snooping. It is the foundation for DAI and IP source guard. Next is configure trusted ports carefully. So mark uplinks and servers as trusted, not user ports. Third is implement rate limiting. Prevent attackers from overwhelming the switch. So in this way, the DOS attacks can be prevented. Handle static IP devices. Create ARP or access control lists for devices not using DHCP. And the last thing is test before production. Validate in the lab to avoid any network outages. Always test before implementing something. Monitoring and maintenance. Security is not set and forget. So we need to monitor logs and SNMP traps, perform regular audits and penetration testing, keep firmware updated, and maintain proper documentation. So continuous monitoring ensures early detection of attacks. Now, the key principle that is very important: no single security feature is enough. So, one control can fail and attackers can bypass individual protection. That's why we use multi overlapped defenses. So, at the end, I will say that security is strongest when built in layers. If one layer fails, the other will continue to protect the network. So, this is the last slide of our today's lecture. We studied about the data link layer attacks and countermeasures. The data link layer security is fundamental to network integrity. We can implement a comprehensive mechanism to countermeasure all the attacks by understanding them. And also, we can organize the proper principles to prevent man in the middle attacks. So, in this way, we can protect the sensitive traffic and make the network available, and also retain the network integrity. Note one thing, the layer 2, that is data link layer, its security is not optional, it's a kind of mandatory for every network. Every security architecture depends on a solid foundation. So we cannot neglect, we cannot ignore the data link layer, its vulnerabilities. We cannot ignore its weaknesses because the layer 2 can be attacked by the attackers in different ways, as we have studied these attacks in our lecture. So for implementation, deploy DAI, the port security, DHCP snooping, and BDU guard. For layer defense, combine multiple security features for comprehensive or for complete protection. And also for all the systems, the monitoring is very important. We must monitor our networks continuously. We must check the violations. We must audit the logs regularly and stay vigilant. Okay, students, this lecture was about the layer 2 network security. In this lecture, we studied about the data link layer security attacks and countermeasures. So we reached at the end of this lecture and also the second part of this lecture. So if you have any question or any sort of comment, feel free to contact me via my email. Thank you for watching this lecture. See you in the next lecture. Allah Hafiz.